Rockefeller, together with his brother William N. Flagler and Samuel Adams, established the Standard Oil Company of Ohio. The company immediately began using a variety of cutthroat techniques to destroy competitors and consolidate the industry. Some of these included temporarily undercutting the prices of competitors until they either go out of business or sell out Standard Oil. They also buy up the components needed to make oil barrels in order to prevent competitors from getting their oil to customers, using its large and growing volume of oil shipments to negotiate an alliance with the railroads that give it secret rebates. They also secretly buy up competitors and then having officials from their company spy, dispatching thugs who use threats and physical violence to break up the operations of competitors who cannot be persuaded. These sort of corrupt businesses need to be stopped. If not, is this the future of our economy?
Welcome to Tammany Hall, the political machine running New York. And the man who controlled this machine was none other than William Marcy Tweed, otherwise known as Boss Tweed. What started as a fraternal organization in 1786 to help the city's poor has now become the center for bribery and debauchement. This Democratic pressure group was certainly using pressure to stay in power. Run by its boss, Tweed gained power through appointing various city officials. By appointing people such as Peter Barr Sweeney, who took over the departments of public parks, and gained Tweed firm control of New York and defrauding taxpayers, he was able to turn New York into his own little game of chess. Charles Francis Murphy, a politician, is the current boss of Tammany Hall. He replaced Richard Croker, one of the many corrupt Tammany bosses, who was forced out of office due to public accusations of his corruption. Will Murphy continue the tradition of corrupt bosses, or will he fall in suit with the air of reform we feel today?
William Boss Tweed is a man often defined as a very symbol of discrimination and political corruption. Yet there's far more to the story of Tweed than his greed. What lies beyond the underhanded schemes and the smoke-filled back rooms was a conundrum of sorts. By wielding such power, influence to build and expand New York City, Tweed would use this same influence on the city out of millions of dollars in a relentless attempt to impose both his political and financial power. This is all a closer look at the menacing man of William Boss Tweed.
I have found discontent in that of the spoil system. President Andrew Jackson was one of the first to use this type of system. It is unfair to those who have been working roughly to qualify for jobs to have the jobs and appointments given up to the political party supporters. The spoil system is something that is unfair and unjust for hardworking people. To be exact, it is basically when the political party in power gives jobs and appointments to its supporters rather than to the people based on their qualifications. The spoil system was absolutely dominating the government during the Gilded Age. Parties were developing political machines that reached into every ward, precinct, and every city in the nation. The spoil system served as the glue that helped make the party so powerful. The Postmaster General, who headed the U.S. Postal Service, for example, could reward thousands of supporters with jobs. About 75 to 80% of all of those who could vote did vote in presidential elections during the Gilded Age. It's time we do our best to expose this way of life and put an end to it.
Corporation eliminates its competition and becomes known as what is a monopoly. Monopolies take over 7 organizations, including what is known as trusts. In 1904, the Northern Security Company, which is a big railroad company, became known as an illegal trust. This decision of an illegal trust forced the company to form into smaller companies. Shortly after, in 1911, the Supreme Court busted the trust between the Standard Oil companies. Meanwhile, William Howard Taft supported the Supreme Court's rule of reason, which allows for reasoning within the Sherman Antitrust Act. The reason allows for big monopolies just as long as they don't unreasonably force out smaller companies.
Mr. Tweed, what do you have to say about the accusations on your use of the spoil system?
The spoil system is a term given to blame on the wealthier people.
Mr. Tweed, how do you feel about the convictions placed on you on forgery and theft?
No comment.
Hall was originally a fraternal organization to aid poor immigrants and local citizens of New York City. It was founded by William Mooney and formed in 1789. This cartoon is an illustration of William Marcy Tweed, otherwise known as Boss Tweed. He was the boss of Tammany Hall from 1868 up to his conviction on charges of forgery and theft in 1873. He used his power to appoint loyal supporters and city officials to his board in order for him to gain more control over the city.
The Tammany Hall motto is Freedom, Our Rock,
This is ironic as during Tweed's regime and many other bosses, Tammany Hall was an organization of oppression and abused its power to control people's freedom. Boss Tweed is seen leaning against the rock in a position that asserts his power and claim over New York City.
The rock with Tammany Hall's motto symbolizes Tammany Hall and the weight of it over the city, as it crushes the reform and hope that many people hope to achieve. During this time, it is a symbol of the crushing weight of this political machine. Tweed also has his boots and pockets stuffed with money. This symbolizes his political favors. In his hands, Tweed is grasping and crushing people with his hand. This represents the tight grasp he had on people in the city, but also how he restricted people's rights and freedoms.
The green money is a symbol of his wealth. The flag is blue because blue is the color of hope. Tammany Hall was supposed to provide and support hope to the city's poor, but ended up doing the opposite.